Welcome, distinguished guests. Now entering the faculty of the USC School of Dramatic Arts. Please rise and join us in welcoming the class of 2022. Please welcome Emily Roxworthy, Dean of the USC School of Dramatic Arts.
Please be seated. Good morning. On behalf of the faculty and staff of the USC School of Dramatic Arts, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you all, family, friends, and graduates, to the 2022 USC School of Dramatic Arts undergraduate commencement ceremony. I'm thrilled to be with you all, whether in person here in the Bing Theater or virtually, as we recognize the strength, creativity, and accomplishments of this truly remarkable class of 2022. I would like to start by thanking the excellent and talented faculty who have guided you through these years. Yes. These excellent and talented faculty have guided you through these years. I would also like to acknowledge the entire staff of the school, not only for helping all of you on your journey to get to today, but for supporting your artistic growth. Let's give them a round of applause too. And of course, an enormous thanks to you, the parents, families, and friends of this graduating class. We are all grateful for the belief and support you have given your students. I would also like to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of our dear friend and colleague, Professor Andre Belgrader. We lost Andre earlier this semester. A noted director and educator, he had a tremendous impact, not only on the theater, but on the alumni and students of this school, many of whom are here on this very stage. We thank him for his genius and will miss him tremendously. And finally, I want to thank you, the graduating class. When I joined SDA almost a year ago, one of the first things I fell in love with were the dynamic students. Families, if you didn't already know this remarkable group on the stage today are a committed, wildly talented community of multi-hyphenate artists and entrepreneurs who want to use their storytelling powers to help address our world's most pressing problems. I find it wildly exciting that we recognize the achievements of this tremendous class in the same academic year we have been celebrating 75 years of excellence and impact of the dramatic arts at USC. It has been a delight to watch you work, and I know I will enjoy watching you continue to grow in the years to come, as will all of the faculty joining me on stage. In just a few moments, you will no longer be students, but alumni of the School of Dramatic Arts. To welcome you to these prestigious ranks, I would like to welcome one of the co-chairs of the Alumni Leadership Council, Tom Polos, to say a few words. You can join me while I talk about you embarrassingly, Tom.
No need to hold your applause.
Tom Polos, BFA class of 2010, is an Emmy Award-crashing spokesperson, content creator, and consultant. His work in one form or another has appeared on every national broadcast network in North America, and he has proudly been the face and voice of many brands, including the largest telecommunications company in the world, AT&T. The New York Times once said of his performance as a drummer that Polos, quote, lost his rhythm. He was in 5th grade and will never forget this. Welcome, Tom.
All right, let's go. Let's go. All right. Thank you for that heavily encouraged applause and kind introduction. I appreciate it, and I apologize in advance if I get emotional. I hate attention. This is very hard for me. Seriously, though, thank you, Dean Emily Roxworthy, for the honor of speaking at commencement. You can't spell commencement without me. Twice, actually. And as much as I'd like to make this about me, today is about you, students, who are mere minutes away from being alumni, which is who I represent today, the Alumni Leadership Council. How very Ravenclaw. According to Wikipedia, I am an alumnus of the School of Dramatic Arts. Also, according to Wikipedia, I have raised money for charities by running in endurance races, which can't be true because I have only run late to class at MCC, PED, the Scene Doc Theater. You know the places. We all have that in common. Everyone here at this Bing stage, or is it binge stage? No one told me how to pronounce it when I was a student. I spent all senior year binging or binging, not sure. Obviously, I have little wisdom to offer you. But I do come bearing good news. Solely by graduating, you are automatically ushered into the USC Alumni Association and have access to all of the advantages that come with that distinction. That includes perks and incentives from many global and local businesses, which I encourage you to take you up on. Don't you want cheaper parking at LAX? Don't you never want to go there again? But you also get the joy, the fellowship, and support system that comes with joining the ranks of your fellow SDA Trojans. It sounds cheesy, so take your Lactaid, but the Trojan family is real. Dietary stuff, I get it. My closest colleagues and friends today were once my goofy classmates. We dined at EVK and Parkside. We all nearly failed Theater 130. Is it still a thing to nearly fail that? I love Duncan. Duncan's a good teacher. He's my guy. The mutual memories of over 7,000 diverse SDA alums are far-reaching. Many of us have learned the same life lessons from the same life-changing teachers who paid me to say that today. And we have rolled around classrooms, committed fully to Cougar exercises, yelled onomatopoeia that makes no sense, rolling around in PED terrifying those poor ROTC students who also somehow failed Theater 130. Thank them for their service. Inside jokes will echo in our performance venues long after I'm asked to leave. But us alums are here to help, and we want to remain in touch so we can continue this very unique story and shared memories together. So, here's the ask. Please sign up for our alumni email, or reach out to us directly. You can just shout Tom, and I usually come out around that, Felix the Cat sign. And come and find out about our many inclusive, ongoing, and epic events that are here for you to aid in your careers of our alumni, to aid in the celebration of our students, and to celebrate our collective past accomplishments. So, USC School of Dramatic Arts, under the incredible stewardship of Dean Emily Roxworthy, continues to be the epicenter for community-driven storytelling in the entertainment capital of the world, and y'all are the next chapter. So, sincerely, I'm excited for you. I remember how it felt. I am awestruck with what you have done in these past 4 years. And I genuinely believe with what you guys have done, your degree is more impressive than mine. I do mean that. So again, I'm not here to offer you any wisdom, just perhaps great hair and 2 whitened teeth, and a good reminder that alma mater translated means generous mother. And now, we all got the same mom, who I hope gets back in touch with me. She blocked me recently. Happy belated Mother's Day. Congrats to the parents and grandparents. And in case you alums haven't heard it today, because no one says it around here, fight on. Fight on. And congratulations, I'll see you on the freeway.
Thank you, Tom. The School of Dramatic Arts grants 2 undergraduate degrees, a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Fine Arts. Today we have 2 class speakers representing these different populations. Representing the Bachelor of Arts students is Nico Fife. Nico Fife is an actor, writer, director, singer, activist, and theatrical artist. Yeah, he is. Based here in Los Angeles, his previous work encompasses stage, film, and other mediums. Recently, he made his directorial debut earlier this semester with MTR's Next to Normal, which was extraordinary. He has worked on talkbacks, podcasts, and telethons, spreading messages of intersectionality and inclusivity throughout all of his work. Please welcome Nico.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Let's try that again. Good morning. Thank you. Hi, my name is Nico Fife. I'm 5'11", I'm based in Los Angeles, and today I will be reading for the part of BA class speaker for the graduating class of 2022. What? As our beloved Professor Rodney always says, it's never too late to practice your self-tapes, queens. All jokes aside, thank you all so much. I am so honored to be speaking to you today on behalf of the BA class of 2022. Thank you all so much for joining us in today's celebration. Students, faculty and staff, family and friends, I invite you to please join me in giving a massive congratulations to the graduating class of 2022. We have spent the last 2, 3, 4, and some of us even 5 years building up to this day. Years of studying, rehearsing, designing, memorizing, writing, putting our blood, sweat, and tears into doing everything we can to get to this day today. And boy, oh boy, does it feel strange. Okay, hear me out, there's more to it than that. With all those years of studying came years of laughing, years of friendships being built, years of doing the work that we are passionate about, years of dedicated art of theater. So of course, it feels great. Many of us got to act in our first main stage productions, got to try our hands at directing. We became produced playwrights, successful producers, and masterful designers. We stepped into the roles of theater makers, and for lack of a better word, we ran with it. And we had a blast doing it. So, if all of that is true, why do I say it feels strange? Well, when I began to figure out what in God's name I would be saying at this podium, I thought about how best to summarize our time at this university. And after much thought, the only word that really stuck with me was resilience. Resilience. For those of you maybe out there or amongst my graduates who have not paid attention to the news coming out of this institution, let's take a little stroll down memory lane, shall we? The class of 2022 entered college while this university was in the midst of multiple scandals and a change in presidential leadership, all while we turned 18 and tried to figure out living away from home for the first time. Less than a year after President Foltz assumed her duties leading this institution, we were struck with a global pandemic unlike anything we had ever seen before in our lives. We were suddenly sent back into our childhood homes, and the oh-so-beloved virtual theater became our only creative outlet. Finally, during this global pandemic, the School of Dramatic Arts itself underwent its own changes in leadership, curriculum, and direction as a school. We also find ourselves entering the industry in a time of immense political strife and uncertainty. So we could spend the next couple of minutes debating about all these changes that happened, talking about them and the way they affected us, their pros and cons, but I don't want to do that. What I will say is that with every change that happened, a new rule book was written. The old one was thrown out, and we as a class adapted to it. For many in the ISP and student group communities, the class of 2022 was thrust into leadership positions that many of us felt woefully unprepared for. Years of Zoom theater went by, and suddenly we found ourselves as the upperclassmen on campus, with scores of younger students looking to us as the new leaders of SDA. After all, we were the last class to have a full year on campus before the global pandemic. And still, we continued on. Rather than bury our head, yes, thank you. Rather than bury our heads in the sand, we pushed through the challenges, we pushed through the imposter syndrome and the confusion to carve our own path. In the face of immense change, we became the change makers. We restructured our constitutions of the student groups to build better companies. We banded together and spoke up when we saw and felt injustice being perpetuated. We pushed not only this school, but ourselves to be kinder, smarter, and braver in our art. And we did it all while still laughing, still smiling, and still making live theater happen. Yes, it came with its own sets of challenges, tears, and all-nighters, but we made it happen. As we've approached graduation, I have, and I'm sure my fellow graduates will agree with this, have been asked any and all of the following questions. What are your plans for the future? Have you got a job lined up yet? Hey, are you totally freaking out? Because when I was your age, I was totally freaking out. So if I was in your space, I'd totally be freaking out right now. So are you freaking out right now? But the one that stuck with me the most is something along the lines of, do you think you're ready for this industry? Well, who can really say? It's hard for a 20-something to be able to predict their own future, and there is no for sure answer about what's going to be thrown at you when you enter the job market. But as I look out across the class of 2022, and I'm reminded of our journey over the last couple of years, something in my gut tells me we're just going to be fine. Our resilience is going to be our lifeblood. And when we hold on to that, honestly, I'm more worried if the industry is ready for us. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Thank you all so much for a fantastic undergraduate career. I cannot wait to see us working together real soon. Fight on and hags.
Thank you, Nico. Representing the Bachelor of Fine Arts students is Madeline Engelsman. Madeline Engelsman is graduating summa cum laude from SDA with a BFA in design and a minor in entertainment industry from USC's School of Cinematic Arts. Maddie, as she is known by her peers and faculty, is excited to pursue a career in the live entertainment industry. She has made the most of her USC experience by designing costumes almost every semester for School of Dramatic Arts productions, most recently Scenes from the Odyssey, which was gorgeous. She would like to thank all of her classmates and her cohort for making these crazy 4 years fun, creative, and inspirational. Please welcome Maddie.
Congratulations, class of 2022. My name is Maddie Engelsman, and I'm honored to have been chosen to speak to our graduating class this year. But what could I tell you that you all don't already know about the last 4 years? I could tell you about the struggles of college and how that was increased because of Zooming. But we all, students, faculty, staff, and families, reached this point today together. And just as theater is created through a joint effort from all aspects of production, our growth and successes over the last 4 years have relied on each other. All of our peers, faculty, families, and of course, friends. So let's thank everyone in our circles today, because this is just as much of an opening night for them as it is for us. Over the last 4 years, our class has continued to provide meaningful content throughout what has felt like 100 different historical events. Okay, we show up each day because what we do is important. In theater, we create reflections of the world we live in, encourage critical thought on systemic problems, and showcase humanity in times of happiness and hopelessness. And in a time when theater was needed most, it was hardest to access. We have pushed each other and ourselves on days when we didn't even know if we would return to a live theater, and if we did, what it would look like. But now we face a moment just as daunting. Now we have to make it in the industry. We tend to consider making it when we find ourselves in really exciting job opportunities and when our career in this industry is relatively secure. But as creatives, I challenge us to make it, as in create it. Don't settle for making it into an industry. Strive to make the industry something new, something better. Tell the stories that aren't usually told, create standards and boundaries our industry has yet to determine, and overall just make your mark. We shouldn't lose touch with our childhood dreams in an effort to make it in the industry as it is. As the queen of theatricality, Dolly Parton, who else, once said, "Don't be too busy making a living that you forget to make a life." Make your living doing what you want to do. Make a life that you enjoy living. Do something that makes you smile and laugh. That is the making it we should all strive for. And of course, those super cool jobs and shows and Tony nominations will hopefully fall right in line. It has been so amazing getting to know you all over the last 4 years, and I am so excited to see what we will accomplish, where we will go, and what we will make. None of us are artists alone. We need each other to make our art, and it has been an honor to make art alongside you. In theater, the stories portrayed often finish with an open ending. After the curtain closes, the audience is to believe that the characters' stories continue. Well, we are nearing the end of the show here at USC, but our stories do continue. Wherever we end up in this industry or any other, make it yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Maddie. I now have the enormous honor to introduce to you our guest commencement speaker, BD Wong. It's okay, there's a long bio, so you've got a minute. BD Wong's exceptional career as a trailblazing artist and advocate has spanned more than 3 decades. A personal hero of mine, he has appeared in such popular television shows as Law & Order SVU, Awkwafina is Nora from Queens, and Mr. Robot. He's been seen or heard in more than 30 films, including next month's blockbuster, Jurassic World Dominion. We're all very excited for that. And his stage credits are equally long. He received the Drama Desk, Outer Critics Circle, Theater World, Clarence Derwent, that's a mouthful, and Tony Awards for his Broadway debut in M. Butterfly, an achievement, yes. And that is an achievement that has not yet been duplicated by another actor. He is the author of the critically acclaimed memoir, Following Fu, The Electronic Adventures of the Chestnut Man, and is an advocate for the Trevor Project and its It Gets Better campaign. Yes. He sits on both the Board of Trustees of Rosie's Theater Kids, which provides free performing arts training to underserved New York public school students, and on the board of the Entertainment Community Fund, formerly the Actors Fund, which is a lifeline for so many in our industry. He appears in the upcoming Netflix film Heart of Stone and is currently preparing to direct the world premiere of Mr. Holland's Opus, the new musical. Yeah, which he has co-written with the composer Wayne Barker. So please join me in giving a very warm SDA welcome to BD Wong.
Thank you. You know, just to break the ice and set the tone, it occurred to me this morning, and then actually just sitting here a few minutes ago, that this would have been so much better if I had taken an edible. Raise your hand if you knew that and did it. I know a high percentage of you are completely inebriated, and I celebrate you and support you. And I want to say that I'm very happy to be here. And I'm sincerely happy to be here because I love graduations. I love weddings, and I love rituals and commencements and quinceañeras and brisses. And I love, and I just want to take a second to kind of make a really important distinction. There are 2 kinds of people in the world. There are actors, and there are normal people. And depending upon who you are or what your mood is, this is either a high compliment or a real dig, right? The young, cocky actor who, hears that he is not a normal person, is very, very proud and full of himself. And his partner, the nurse in a veterinary clinic who has lived with him this whole time, knows that it is really not a high compliment. But the reason why I bring up this distinction is because in these contexts of commencements and weddings and moments of great rites of passage, there is, for the normal people, a sense of theatrical drama and emotion and feeling. And we go to these weddings and we go to these events to experience the highs of the human emotional experience, the triumphs, the crossing over from one thing to the next, the growth, the maturity, all of the passing through a door, the chapters closing and chapters opening. And as normal people, these are the people who dress up for Halloween. Normal people really use these moments to affirm their humanity. And actors are doing this all the time. Actors are taking every moment. I don't know why this popped into my head. The man at Starbucks got my name wrong. The drama, the theatricality, the triumphs, the highs and lows, the little things, the big things, they're all swirled into our identity and into our consciousness, and it drives other people around us crazy, but it makes us who we are. We are performers. I know we're not all actors, we're designers and all different kinds of things, but theatrical people, right? We are observers of life, and we observe. And if we are good at what we do, and if we are committed to what we do, we are always looking, and we're always observing, and we're always taking information. And then one quick advice that I would give is don't learn how to act from watching actors. Learn how to act from watching people. And it's really, you can spot it a mile away, somebody who gives a performance that they saw in some other movie. Some moment of theatricality or rage or whatever it is. It's taken more from someone else's performance than from real life. But that is a tangent. I want to talk about observation, and I want to talk a little bit about technique, because we all came here and we learned as best we could under these incredible circumstances, as Nico mentioned, how to act, how to design, how to be a member of this community, how to be an artist, whatever your discipline or disciplines are. And we instilled in ourselves, hopefully, with these fine people responsible for us, a sense of some kind of technique or other, or many techniques. And I always like to remember that there's a kind of a moment where your technique kind of gives away to other things. The technique can't be the only thing that you're relying on, right? You're relying on your own sense of humanity, observation, all of this other stuff. And so just being in the moment sometimes for me is not enough. The thing that's really important this is a thing that's a kind of a private thing that we all have as actors, which is you're in a moment and you're really feeling it, and you're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm really feeling it, I'm really feeling it, I'm really in the moment. And then you think to yourself, but if I just wait a little longer for this next line, it will be more effective. And what I have found so wonderful and exciting and interesting and nourishing for me is the acknowledgement that technique and artifice come together and create star quality or really great performances. I don't think anybody's ever really just in the moment, to be quite honest. They taught you to be in the moment, many of them I'm sure did, and yet there's other stuff that you do, and that's part of the observation, that's part of all of the other stuff that is. I had a whole section on resilience that I don't have to do now. But I will say, as an observer, as an observer, not as a member of your community, as Nico is, but as someone who observes you and understands you and watches you and is here to celebrate you, I say, good for fucking you. I mean, and Nico said this, and I would just really reiterate it. The resilience is the resilience they're always trying to teach you that is going to be required. You're supposed to not, should I be an actor or not be an actor? Well, can you handle it? Is the answer, is one of the answers. And so you have tools that were given to you quite unbeknownst to you while they were being given to you that are so useful to you, because it is really it will require all the resilience that you can muster. And it may even require more resilience than you think you have, even having the experience that you've had. But you are well on your way to being able to handle it, and I'm happy for you in that way. It was a crash course in resilience, right? And good for you. Now, I want to, always, often, when an old person gets up on a stage at a commencement, there's often this kind of difficult section where the person tells you hard truths and points their finger just like this, and is kind of, uses that awful term, "when I was your age," which I really didn't want to use when I was up here. But there are a couple of things that I think are difficult. They're not all sunshine and roses kind of things that are practical to me. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, how would I do that in the most effective way? And I think, well, the one thing is to say something that's really useful, not just to be kind of, when I point my finger like this, I'm thinking of the witch in Into the Woods, 'Cause I am old, I am ugly, I embarrass you, you are ashamed of me. You don't understand. And I don't want to be that person, but I do think, well, what would be really useful? What could be useful? What is enlightening to you possibly? What maybe had you not thought of before? 4 very, very little things. The one is the thing that I struggle with the most. And the thing, it's kind of fundamentally important, not ultimately the most important thing, but it is punctuality. And I mention this because I struggle with it. And I also mention it because I think you guys were trained to put that on a second burner. And what I mean is that you were never punished for being not punctual. And I'm saying that happens in an institution like this, in an educational institution where we're lenient about punctuality or tardiness. And that's all for very important, good reasons. And then on the other side of that door is something else. And that is our industry. That is the world that we work in, where people have no concept of any of that. And so if you got somehow trained to be relaxed about that issue, please don't do that. And I want to say this because it was a revelation for me when I was in my first Broadway show. I had a very mean director, and but one thing that he said that was very valuable to me right before the opening, when it was clear to me that after the opening he would go back to London and I would never see him again. In fact, he actually passed away, so I never really did see him again. But one of his parting words to me, and he was giving me the same advice that I'm giving you, but he did not say, "Don't ever be late." What he said was, "Don't ever make them wait." And of course, you see, it all of a sudden came outside of me. It was like, oh my gosh, there's other people? Wow, it like blew my mind. The other thing is, preparation. Preparation is the king. And Bradley Whitford said this a few years ago, so I'm not saying anything new. It is not without a solid foundation of preparation when you walk into any rehearsal or onto any set that can allow you to play, that can allow you to experiment, to be spontaneous, to take energy from your scene partner or scene partners, and to use it when you are thinking about anything else, any distractions. And that's why we always complain about distractions, right? We complain that we're on stage in a musical and we can't hear ourselves, or we complain that our shoes don't fit right, because it distracts us and takes us away from the acting that we're trying to do. These are all very actory things, and they're true, and we have to try not to be a pain in the ass about them. But when it comes to you bringing to the table your own sense of preparedness, you will be doing yourself a favor because you have taken care of a huge thing that will not be distracting to you. And you'll be surprised how many people don't adhere to this. I mean, people walk onto the set all of the time and they don't know their lines, and famous people, and they and you know, you have to work around them, and it's really weird. And it's not great for them because they can't be as good as they need to be. I would like to say a word about being sensitive, because I want to make a very important distinction, because actors, one of the main requirements of and people in the theater, actually all of us here, one of the main requirements for us is that we be sensitive people, that we be sensitive to ourselves, and that we be sensitive to others. And I wish to make a very important distinction between sensitivity and fragility. You can't be an actor and be a fragile person. You can't. You have to do everything you can to fortify yourself and strengthen your psyche and your self-esteem and your body and your voice. So many things in order to withstand everything, to be resilient to all the challenges that come from being an actor or a performer or a person in the theater, a person with, you know, not without a kind of sense of job security. All of these things, they're all related. And I think that, again, in an education environment, we have to kind of cater to a lot of fragility. And all I'm pointing out is that fragility is not conducive to being a great actor. Being a great actor allows you to rip yourself open whenever needed. And the ability to do that and not to worry about it, or you have to have a very strong, what I would recommend, rather than putting outside of yourself and putting on others the responsibility of taking care of your own sensitivity, I would recommend therapy. You really need to know yourself really well. And it's being an actor, it's famously self-indulgent, but it is because we are the instruments that we play, right? We can't put the instrument in a case and put it away. We are it. So it's health, psyche, emotional intelligence and emotional health are all very important. And also being aware that the self-indulgence is built into it, and that doesn't rule our lives or our relationships with other people. We have to really understand and be very, very, very careful about it. The fourth thing is related to this, which is the relationship between, where the distinction between self-care and selfishness. It's a very similar kind of thing. And where my example of this here is directing other actors in your scene. You're directing your scene partner, right? It's a very common thing, and you must not ever do it. You must not ever do it. And the reason why is because being an actor is, you're kind of on a, lack of a better word, you're on a team with another person. And the trust that you have with that other person includes trusting them so that they trust you, and allowing a proper process to take care of them, and your responsibility is not their performance. Because you will always think to yourself, oh my gosh, if he would just do this, I could do this. And you want so badly to say, even to the director, could he do this? And you really can't do that. Because you have, and this is where empathy comes really into play, you have to remember what it would feel like if someone did that to you. My best example of this is, again, from my Broadway debut. I was very lucky to have a leading man who was well-seasoned and very, very sensitive. And he was thrown into this production with this green, young actor who had very little experience, and he had to negotiate his way around this very thing that I'm talking about. I can tell. Now when I look back, I see the incredible, superhuman, Thor-like restraint that he used in his dealing with me. But he would come to my dressing room, and he would very gently say, I have some suggestions for you. And these are some suggestions. You're talking a little bit too fast in this scene, and I can't get my words in, and blah, 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 blah. And he would say very gently a few things. I always get emotional when I talk about this. And then he would say, and what do you have for me? for us, we're very vulnerable people, right? We're vulnerable. We have to be vulnerable in order to be actors. I said this before. That's really hard to do. It's hard to say, hit me, go ahead, tell me, I can take it. I can take your suggestions. I can take your criticism. I can take your comments. This is all part of what's super important about this. I will just say very briefly that I wrestled very much in my early life as an actor with two core identities of my own. One is that I was a queer person, I was a queer man, and two, I was an Asian American person that was being inserting myself into an industry which clearly eschewed me. And I wrestled with these two identities of myself to the extent, there was a lot of homophobia in the media at the time too, and I thought to myself, well, I want to be something that I'm not. I would, if you could give me a few $100,000 and the promise that it could be true, I would have gotten an operation to turn me into Matthew Broderick. In a second. And now, of course, I think, these are the two identifying, gorgeous, wonderful, vibrant, personal, beautiful things about me. Yeah, thanks. But that is what I'm bringing, that's part of what I'm bringing to the table. And of course, we all have that thing that we're bringing to the table. When I was a young person, I was kind of oblivious to, like, I just wanted to be good. I wanted to be as good as possible. I was very competitive. I didn't realize, oh no, this is a part of me. The me, it's actually part of the truth, and the truth is what makes you give a good performance. And so when I connected to that eventually, and it took many, many years, and I don't suggest for you that you take as long as I did, it really was eye-opening and revelatory, and I could feel my work improve without any doubt. Something that has always been said to me, and it's related to this, is know your currency. And that is, we struggle very much with our self-esteem, with our place on the food chain as we're starting out. What do I deserve? Am I overstepping my abilities? A lot of you, I have a very strong sense, have very strong sense of self-esteem. I'm getting the vibe of, I'm smelling the stink of self-esteem in the air. And I also think there's also self-doubt, right? There's also a sense of trepidation and, but we all bring something to the table, and we all know you have this training, you have this diploma, you have this, you should have a spine of a sense of confidence and at least the intellectual knowledge that you are somebody that is deserving of having opportunities. And so you don't have to apologize for that. You have to kind of just go, okay, no, this is what I'm bringing to the table. It's okay if you don't pick me. But that's always going to be a thing. You're not going to get picked, and you're going to not picked kind of a lot, and you're not going to get picked. And when you don't get picked, you have to be able to handle that. But you have to be able to say, well, okay, I can handle that, but I'm going to set forth the package as well as I can. And your low self-esteem can get in the way of you making a good package. And the last thing I want to say is, well, besides congratulations, is, my technique was wrapped up. I learned how to act. It was very moving for me because I learned how to act in Los Angeles as a young actor with a wonderful teacher named Don Houghton, who studied with the Actors Studio in a crappy little basement studio on Gardner. And he really hammered home for me one thing that has always stayed with me, and that, yes, amen. He remembers. Donald, thank you for that. We are messengers. We are messengers of great thoughts and ideas and feelings and emotions, and as observers who are messengers, we carry forth a task to the world of illuminating the human experience. Sure, we can be hot. We can do, we can get laughs, we can do all of those things, but ultimately, if you go back to the idea of why you're doing it, I'm not asking you if this is why you're doing it. I'm telling you, this is why you're doing it. Please do it because you are a messenger, because you have something to say, and if you do not have something to say, some writer or a collaborator has something to say that can use you as a conduit to reach the world. And through the world, we change it or adjust it or make it talk to itself or make it think about itself because of the thing we're doing. We're not saving anybody's life. We're doing, it's very specific. I'm not saying it's any better than what anybody else is doing, but it is cool. And it's specific, and it's unique to who we are, and it's super special, and it's noble. And whenever I get down about it, which isn't that often really, but I have my moments, yes, I remember this, and it helps me, and it makes me want to continue, and it makes me want to say something and get back in it and be creative and speak out. So I cannot say enough about your this wonderfully unique class, all of you and Nova. About how, it's been said that you're very special, and you really are, and I don't like telling kids they're special. But in this case, I think you really do earn and own this unique place in our world's history as this class of people who had this experience. And if you can't take that and turn it into something beautiful for other people to observe and appreciate, then please leave. Thank you so much, and congratulations. I love you guys.
Thank you, BD. We are messengers, and we will take that from that very inspiring speech. So, before we pass out the diplomas, there are a few announcements. First, please join us for a reception in front of Bing's Theater in Queen's Courtyard following the ceremony. But please remain seated until all of the graduates have exited the theater. You may meet your graduates at the reception. Feel free to take photos during the presentation of degrees, but please stay seated and keep the aisles clear. A professional photographer, one of the best, will take pictures of all the graduates as they receive their diplomas, and these photos will be available for order. And finally, as our students cross the stage, you will notice that some of these graduates wear cardinal and gold honors cords. Yeah. That's right. These cords signify that a student has earned a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or higher during their time at USC. It is a point of pride for all of us at SDA that over half of our undergraduate population, 70% of them, earned this distinction this year. This clearly demonstrates their determination to succeed as artists and their commitment to achieving scholastic excellence. And now for the reason we are all here today. To present the degrees, please welcome Professor of Theater Practice and Acting, Associate Dean of Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, and Co-Head of Undergraduate Acting, Anita Dashiell-Sparks. And Assistant Professor of Theater Practice in Critical Studies and Interim Artistic Director, Rena Heinrich. And Assistant Professor of Theater Practice in Performance, Stevie Johnson.
all Bachelor of Arts candidates please rise and be recognized?
Bachelor of Arts candidates in row 1, please remain standing. All other candidates, please be seated.
Presenting the candidates for Bachelor of Arts in Theater.
Ari Aluwa Damilola Abija. Ari is a member of Phi Beta Kappa's Honor Society and is an undergraduate student government senator. Ari would like to thank her family for their support, her friends for home away from home, and her professors for their wisdom.
Allison S. Beck. Allison is a recipient of the Zobalin Endowed Scholarship, University Scholarship, and University Grant. Allison would like to thank her mom, dad, brother, and 2 grandmothers for always encouraging and supporting her.
Fiona Maria Baccarizo. Fiona is a USC Truster Scholar, USC Dream Dollars Scholarship recipient, a research assistant in the USC Price School of Public Policy, and is writing a book about LA's philanthropic history. Fiona would like to thank her family, especially her mom, dad, sister, and stepfather, for showing her that love changes but never ends.
Chrisanne Bagley Smith. Chrisanne is on the Dean's List, is an associate scholar, and is the associate director of the Transfer Student Assembly. Chrisanne would like to thank her parents, friends, and family for their support.
Eben Zakaya Faith Bold. Eben is a Renaissance scholar with a completed second BA in economics and has been on the Dean's List for both schools every semester and is an associate scholarship recipient. Eben would like to thank his mother for always supporting him, his father for always believing in him, and his sister for always being there.
Sarah Catherine Campbell. Sarah is on the Dean's List and is a member of Phi Beta Kappa. Sarah would like to thank her family for always supporting her in everything she does.
Caden Ray Doody. Caden is on the Dean's List, is a National Merit Scholar, is a member of Phi Beta Kappa's Honor Society, and has a minor in entertainment industry. Caden would like to thank her family for teaching her the importance of taking risks without the fear of failure.
Danielle Marie Ferroni. Danielle is on the Honors Dean's List. Danielle would like to thank the Academy. Not that they've done anything for her yet, or she for them, but just to say thanks in advance.
Enrique Castillo Garcia. Enrique would like to thank his family for always being there when he needed them the most.
Jesus Garcia. Jesus is on the Dean's List, is a trustee scholar, and is a Latino Alumni Association scholar. Jesus would like to thank God first and foremost, and also Mom and Dad for all their continued love and support throughout undergrad. Bless up.
Trip George. Trip is on the Dean's List and is a member of Phi Beta Kappa and would like to thank his parents and family for their support.
Tolly Madeline Green. Holly would like to thank her family for their love and support.
Lauren Hardy. Lauren would like to thank her family and professors for always supporting and encouraging her to pursue her dreams.
Will the Bachelor of Arts candidates in row 2 please rise and be recognized?
Brendan Francis Hastings. Brendan would like to thank his family for their love and support despite this pursuit of nonsense.
Francesca Anna Yake. Francesca is on the Dean's List, is a recipient of the Silas and Rose Marks Meyer Scholarship, and is a USC Renaissance Scholar. Francesca would like to thank her family and friends for their support throughout her years at USC and for traveling across continents to commemorate today.
Nicholas Raymond Kasoy. Nicholas is on the Dean's List and is a trustee scholar. Nicholas would like to thank his mom, dad, and the entire family for their support.
Cameron William Klein. Cameron is on the Dean's List. Cameron would like to thank his family, Karen, Allen, and Harrison, and his professors for their continuous love and support, both academically and professionally.
Violet Yeun Koo. Violet would like to thank her family for their love and support and helping in getting to this point.
Christian Welsh Labertu. Christian is graduating magna cum laude. Christian would like to thank his professors. He loved doing the work, all thanks to you. He dedicates his degree to Richard Welsh, Pops.
Grace Catherine Langen. Grace is on the Dean's List. Grace would like to thank her family and friends for always believing in her and allowing her to follow her dreams.
Emily Levine. Emily would like to thank her family for their love and support.
Justin Troy Libby. Justin is on the Dean's List. Justin would like to thank his parents, relatives, and close friends for always supporting him on this exciting journey and new career path.
Asaf Manor. Asaf is a Presidential Scholar recipient, a Dean's List honoree, and is graduating magna cum laude. Asaf wishes to express his deepest gratitude to every family member, friend, teacher, mascot, and mentor that helped him on his Trojan journey.
Grace Marr. Grace is on the Dean's List, and she would like to thank her peers and professors for all the support and encouragement they have given her during her time at USC.
Ruby Marker. Ruby is a Presidential Scholarship recipient and is on the Dean's List. Ruby would like to thank everyone who has become her family these past 4 years, and her actual family too, for loving and supporting her.
Hannah Simone McCrary. Hannah is on the Dean's List and is graduating magna cum laude. Hannah would like to thank her parents, Ann and Stephen, and brothers Daniel and Gabriel for their fervent, unwavering support towards her and her art.
Cherie Marie Lamar McKenzie. Cherie is on the Dean's List. Cherie would like to thank her family, especially her mom, her professors, and all her friends who helped her get to where she is today.
Will the Bachelor of Art candidates in row 3 please stand, rise, and be recognized?
Taylor Beth McKenzie. Taylor would like to thank her mom, dad, and siblings for all the generous love and support they provided throughout this entire journey.
Christopher Meyer. Christopher is on the Dean's List. He would like to thank his family for their endless love and support.
Adya Mohanty. Adya would like to thank her family and friends for their unconditional love and support, and her professors for their guidance and inspiration.
Dylan Neville. Dylan is on the Dean's List. He would like to thank the boys, Jack, Mama Nita, Daddy, Tony, and of course, Shadow the dog.
Stephanie Ninberg. Stephanie is a recipient of the Trojan League Associates of San Diego Scholarship. Stephanie would like to thank her family, friends, and professors for their support throughout college and always encouraging her to pursue her dreams.
Emily Esther Osry. Emily would like to thank her mom, Roseanne, sister Abigail, Claire, Michael, and Brandon for their love and support. Jonathan C. Peltzer. Jonathan would like to thank God, his family, friends, and professors for their support.
Alexandra Punch. Alex would like to thank her professors for their support in shaping her as an artist and her parents for making this incredible education possible.
Brittany Ann Quach. Brittany is a recipient of the Ruth and Albert McKinley Award. Brittany is on the Dean's List and is graduating cum laude. Brittany would like to thank her entire family for their love and support, as well as her professor's guidance. I love you guys so much.
Zachary Pascus Ring. Zach would like to thank his mom and dad, his brother Nick, his dog Huey, and his entire family.
Adam James Sanderson. Adam would like to thank his mother and father for their love and support, and his professors for putting up with his antics.
Aria Schuler. Aria is graduating summa cum laude, is a member of Phi Beta Kappa, and a recipient of the Paul Backer ISP grant. Aria would like to thank the Schuler family, 1207, and ISPs.
Emma Rose Signano. Emma would like to thank her mom, who has unconditionally believed and supported her throughout this journey.
Will the Bachelor of Arts candidates in row 4 please rise and be recognized?
Callie Scopolidis. Callie is on the Dean's List. Callie Scopolidis would like to thank her parents and professors for their support, generosity, and encouragement.
Kellen Slattery. Kellen is graduating summa cum laude. He is also a recipient of the Natural Light Student Debt Relief Scholarship as well as the Dr. Pepper tuition giveaway. Kellen would like to thank his friends, family, and everyone he's met along the way for believing in him. Just keep living.
Paris D. Chantal Smith. Paris is a recipient of the USC Provost Award and the Ruth and Albert McKinley Award. Paris would like to thank her family for their love and support, her boyfriend for believing in her, and God.
Lexi D. Stabi. Lexi is on the Dean's List and is graduating magna cum laude. Lexi would like to thank her parents, siblings, and best friends for their unconditional love and support throughout her whole journey. She loves you all.
Rebecca Tabor. Rebecca would like to thank their family for their support and prayers along their artistic journey. Viva Peru!
Kyla Takazan. Kyla is a recipient of the Zobalin Endowed Scholarship. Kyla thanks their friends, family, and the SDA community for helping them grow.
Daisy Titchener. Daisy is a recipient of the James and Nona Doolittle Award. Daisy would like to thank her family, her professors and mentors, this artistic community, and for making it all worth it, her friends. Stay frosty.
Adam Torres. Adam would like to thank the professors at USC and other acting teachers that believe in him, and especially his parents that made this possible. Daphne Tuccelli. Daphne would like to thank her parents, friends, and boyfriend for their unconditional love and support.
Samantha Nicole Vargas. Samantha is on the Dean's List and is graduating magna cum laude. Samantha would like to thank her parents for their unwavering love and support.
Thomas Winter. Thomas would like to thank his mom, his dad, his friends, and family for supporting him throughout his college career.
Mai Yang. Mai is on the Dean's List. Mai would like to thank no one. Just kidding. To his dear family, professors, friends, you are the reason he is here today. He loves you all.
Presenting the candidates for Bachelor of Arts in Theater, emphasis in acting.
Will the Bachelor of Arts with the emphasis in acting candidates in row 5 please rise and be recognized? Amber Rochelle Butler. Amber is on the Dean's List and is a Black Alumni Association scholar. Amber would like to thank God, her family, friends, and mentors for their continuous and loving support in her academic journey.
Michael Ariel Camorto. Michael has been on the Dean's List all 4 years. Mike would like to thank her family for always supporting her and showering her with love. So much love to SDA.
Angela Nancy Chapman. Angela is on the Dean's List and is a recipient of the USC School of Dramatic Arts Morton Family Scholarship. Angela would like to thank her family and friends for their support through her time at USC. Fight on.
Alexis Lauren Cruz. Alexis is on the Dean's List. Alexis would like to thank her mom, professors, family, and friends for their love, support, and always believing in her.
Maya Verlaine Donato. Maya would like to thank her loving and supportive family for providing her with this invaluable educational experience.
Nico Fife. Nico is a recipient of the Town and Gown Scholarship. Nico would like to thank all family, friends, and teachers who helped him get here.
Kiana Fong. Kiana would like to shout out her Fong family for their support to Mom, Dad, Gigi, and Leo. Thank you, and I love you. Shelby Jill Friedman. Shelby is on the Dean's List, is Vice President of USC's Reach Social Media Club, and is a staff writer for the parody newspaper, The Sack of Troy. Shelby would like to thank her family for letting her go to Clown College and her professors for being her best friends, especially you, Rodney.
Charlotte Bradway Galbraith. Charlotte Galbraith would like to thank her family and professors for all their love and support throughout her journey at USC.
Marie Rose Zolili, sorry, that's not right. What is it? Zolezi. Marie Rose Zolezi Garlip. Marie attributes all of her success to the love of her parents and siblings. You guys are sweet.
Anna Gerritsen. Annie would like to thank her parents and sisters and all her friends for 4 amazing years full of memories, inspiration, laughs, and love.
Claire Eleanor Garnis. Claire is graduating summa cum laude and is a recipient of the Presidential Scholarship. Claire would like to thank her family and friends, her amazing, supportive classmates, hot girl walks, and the PED building.
Kennedy Gray Hatton. Kennedy is on the Dean's List. Kennedy gives all the glory to God and thanks her family and friends for being an incredible support system.
Will the Bachelor of Arts with the emphasis in acting candidates in row 6 please rise and be recognized?
Madison Hookway. Madison is on the Dean's List. Maddie would like to thank her family, her friends back in London, Vicky, Rosie, and all the professors and weirdos she has met here.
Emily May Camp. Emily May would like to thank her parents, friends, and professors for always supporting her in all of her many endeavors.
Alexa Ryan Kasparian. Alexa is on the Dean's List, and she would like to thank her family for unconditional love and support, professors for their wisdom, and Rodney. Most importantly, thank you to the Academy.
Zuming Liu. Zuming is a recipient of the Distinguished Scholar Award as a member of the USC Asian Pacific Alumni Association and is on the Dean's List. Zuming would like to thank his mother and family for their love, his fellow Trojans, professors, mentors for their support.
Hannah Marie Lloyd. Hannah Marie is a recipient of the USC Alumni and Friends Award. She is on the Dean's List, is an Academic Achievement Award recipient, and is a GAA Scion Scholarship recipient. Hannah May is thankful to God and her family for their love and support, with special thanks to her professors at SDA.
Christian Alejandro Lopez. Christian is on the Dean's List, and he would like to thank all of his loved ones for their support, especially his parents who helped him get to graduation. Fight on.
Abdiel Montes Vergara. Abdiel is on the Dean's List, is a USC Latino Alumni Association Scholar. Abdiel would like to thank his parents, sister, and relatives for their love and support throughout his journey.
Daniel Murphy. Daniel is a recipient of the James and Noni Doolittle Award. He is graduating magna cum laude and is a Renaissance Scholar. Daniel would like to thank his family, friends, and professors for all their love, support, and encouragement.
Ryan Todd Myers. Ryan is on the Dean's List. Ryan would like to thank his family and all that have supported him through his artistic career.
Aldo Norenho. Aldo is on the Dean's List, and he would like to thank his family for supporting his dreams and his friends and professors for making this journey worthwhile.
Michael O'Harlem. Michael would like to thank his family for all of the love and support. He's here because of you.
Jenna Nicole Orico. Jenna is on the Dean's List. Jenna would like to thank her family for their love and endless support of her dreams, making an impactful art and foregoing meaningful creative friendships.
Kathleen Patricia Otter. Kathleen is on the Dean's List and is Vice President and Marketing Designer of the student ISP group Impulse Theater Company. Katie is grateful to God, family, friends, and professors for helping two of her lifelong dreams come true, becoming a Trojan and studying what she wholeheartedly adores.
Eric John Renna. Eric is on the Dean's List, is a Lambda LGBT Alumni Association Scholar, and is the recipient of the Kristen Marie O'Feiss Scholarship and Performing Arts. Eric is grateful to his professors and family who has uplifted his passions, loved him unconditionally, and never ceased to constantly gas him up.
Will the Bachelor of Arts, with an emphasis in acting, design, and visual and performing arts studies, and Bachelor of Fine Arts candidates in row 7 please rise and be recognized? Jasmine Alexandra Rivera. Jasmine would like to thank her mom, her sister Jamie, and her friends for helping her flourish and discover herself over the past 4 years.
Nicholas Ryan Shaw. Nicholas is on the dean's list. Nick would like to thank his family and all of his professors for getting him where he is today.
Olivia Faye Siegel. Olivia would like to thank her family and friends for always believing in her dreams.
Yom Steinberg. Yam is the recipient of the Student Council Award. Yam is on the Dean's List and is a USC Associate Scholar. Yam would like to thank her family, friends, and professors for their endless love, care, and support. It means the world.
Alexis Milan Turner. Alexis is a BAA Scholar, LAA Scholar, is a recipient of the Morton Scholarship Fund, is on the Dean's List, and is graduating summa cum laude. Alexis would like to thank her amazingly supportive family, fantastic friends, professors, and all those who have supported her journey and growth along the way. Presenting the candidates for Bachelor of Arts in Theater, emphasis in Design.
Grant Gerard. Grant would like to thank his family for allowing him to follow his passions and helping him as much as possible along the way.
Shin Lee. Shin is on the Dean's List. Shin would like to thank her parents for their support and her professors who have been very kind to her.
Gigi Yat Ji Vu. Gigi would like to thank her family for their doubtless support and her instructors for guiding her along.
Presenting the candidates for Bachelor of Arts in Visual and Performing Arts. Diego Genaro de la Rosa. Diego is on the Dean's List and is a National Hispanic Scholar. Diego would like to thank his family, friends, and professors who have supported him in his academic and artistic endeavors.
Jack Waltz. Jack is on the Dean's List and is a recipient of the Jack Rowe Endowed Scholarship. Jack would like to thank his family, his talented friends and peers, and his uplifting professors for their support.
Presenting the candidates for the Bachelor of Fine Arts in Acting.
Spencer Casement Claus. Spencer is the recipient of the Bob Scales Scholarship for Performance. Spencer loves their parents and would like to thank them for everything.
Sophie Jordan Hankus. Sophie is on the Dean's List and is a recipient of the David Coleman Dukes Memorial Award. Sophie would love to thank her incredible faculty and her beautiful family for supporting and nurturing her.
Madeline Ray Steinman Heyman. Madeline is on the Dean's List. Madeline would like to thank her parents for encouraging her to follow her dreams, and her family, friends, and partner for being an amazing support system.
Paulo James Lesquero. Paulo would like to thank his family and classmates and professors for their support along his journey.
Will the Bachelor of Fine Arts candidates in row 8 rise and be recognized? Frankie Naiman. Frankie is a recipient of the David Coleman Duke Scholarship. Frankie would like to thank their Naimans for encouragement, resiliency, and infinite love. Their professors, they thank for patience, generosity, and expertise.
Tommy Ortman. Tommy is on the Dean's List and is a member of the Honors Program. Tommy thanks his family for all of their love and support and for allowing him to do this acting thing as his career, especially Mom.
Winona Weber. Winona is the recipient of the Jack Nicholson Award. Winona wants to thank her mom, Carolyn Weber, and you make everything possible for your kids. All of your accomplishments are yours. I love you, Mom. Presenting the candidates for Bachelor of Fine Arts in Design.
Madeline Engelsman. Madeline is a recipient of the Richie M. Spencer Memorial Award. She is graduating summa cum laude and is on the Dean's List. Madeline would like to thank her family and friends for their love and laughter, and the USC faculty for their support.
Jesus Hurtado. Jesus is a recipient of the John Blankenship William C. White Award. Would like to thank his family for all their support and give a shout out to his twin brother Jose, who is graduating from NYU.
Emma Normandy Kremer. Emma would like to thank her mom, dad, sister, and incredible mentors for all their love and support these past 4 years.
Zoya Naikwi. Zoya is a recipient of the James and Noni Doolittle Award. Zoya would like to thank her parents for their love and support. Presenting the candidate for Bachelor of Fine Arts in Sound Design.
Alexis Altala. Alexis would like to thank her ancestors and family for paving this path, and also Nova. She couldn't have done it without you all.
Presenting the candidates for Bachelor of Fine Arts in Stage Management.
Sophia D'Annunzio. Sophia is a recipient of the James B. Pendleton Award. She would like to thank her family and friends, Scott, SDA Events, and the BFA cohort for supporting her journey these past 4 years.
Damaris Lee Eddy. Damaris is on the Dean's List and is a Town and Gown scholar. Damaris would like to thank faculty such as Scott Ferris, Elizabeth Harper, along with her family and for all of their support.
Arturo Jose Fernandez Jr. Arturo is a recipient of the James and Noni Doolittle Award. Arturo would like to thank his family for their unwavering support, as well as Scott, Els, and the production faculty for their guidance and mentorship.
Isabella Gomez. Isabella would like to thank Scott Ferris, Els Collins, her professors, and her family for their support.
Presenting the candidate for Bachelor of Arts in Technical Direction. This is Lily Lou Lundeen. Lily is a recipient of the Anne Buntain Scholarship, is the last TD standing 2022, and is on the Dean's List. Lily would like to thank more people than she has time for: Tammy, Duncan, Mike, Donovan, Ben, and a million more. Thank you for everything. Congratulations, class of 2022. On behalf of the faculty, staff, parents, relatives, friends, and most importantly, the students, it is my honor to thank our dean for guiding us through this year with energy, humor, and heart. Thank you, Dean Emily Roxworthy.
Thank you, Stevie. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Rena, for delivering the degrees to our outstanding graduates. Well, this is it. We've come to the end of this show, but you will leave this stage, and I have no doubt that you will make us all very, very proud. But please remember, you will always be part of this SDA community. Let us know how your lives and careers unfold and grow so we may celebrate with you. We look forward to welcoming you back as friends, distinguished guests, and the inspiration to future generations of artists. So, on behalf of the University of Southern California and its School of Dramatic Arts, I declare that you are now well and truly graduated. To commemorate this fact, you may now move your tassel to the left side of your cap, as you are officially the class of 2022. So all the world is your stage. Go take it. Fight on.